Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Today we're diving into something
Oh,
that can
yeah.
totally change how you see parenting.
Really?
It's
Yeah.
this book called The
Uh,
Way of Play,
okay.
and
All right.
it's by Tina Payne Bryson and Georgie Wisen Vincent.
I know those authors, yeah.
And it's like it offers a seriously powerful new way to think about things.
So, like, what kind of shift are we talking about
Well,
here?
imagine this.
Yeah.
You're right in the middle of your kid's meltdown.
Ugh, I know those.
Right. They're refusing to get dressed. Maybe they're tears, maybe they're yelling.
Yep.
But what if, instead of getting caught up in all that,
Yeah.
you had like a secret weapon?
What, like a superpower?
Kind of.
Yeah.
A way to not just survive those moments, but actually connect with your child and help them grow through them.
Wow. Okay, so what's the secret?
That's what the way of play is all about.
So, are we talking like avoiding conflict? Just giving them whatever they want?
No, not at all. It's about using the power of play
Yeah.
to strengthen their emotional intelligence,
Uh-huh.
their resilience,
Okay.
even their ability to learn.
Hmm. I'm intrigued, but also a little skeptical.
I get it. Play is important,
Hmm.
sure.
Right.
But turning a meltdown into a game? I mean, how's that even work?
Right.
I don't...
So the book actually goes deep into the science behind it.
Oh, interesting.
It explains how play actually shapes the developing brain.
So it's more than just having fun.
Way more. We're talking about building those crucial neural pathways that connect emotions, behavior, and learning.
Wow. Okay, so we're not talking fluffy feel-good stuff here.
Yeah.
There's actual research backing this up.
Oh, yeah. Tons of research showing how play impacts cognitive development,
Uh-huh.
social skills,
Huh.
emotional regulation,
Hmm.
even things like problem solving and creative thinking skills that are essential for academic success.
So playing with blocks isn't just about stacking them up. It's about building those mental muscles for them to, do well in school and beyond.
Exactly. And here's what I find really fascinating. The book says the way we play with our kids can actually strengthen the connection between the emotional centers of your brains and the parts responsible for reasoning and decision making.
Hold on. So being playful actually helps them regulate their emotions.
That sounds almost too good to be true.
It might sound counterintuitive, but that's what the research suggests. And the way of play actually gives us a roadmap for how to do it effectively.
Okay, so how do we do it?
Well, they introduce 7 specific strategies for becoming what they call a Playstrong parent.
7 strategies. All right, now you've got my attention.
Right.
Can we get a sneak peek at these strategies?
Of course. So some might sound familiar, things like setting clear boundaries during playtime,
Right.
or narrating your child's play to help them understand what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But the book goes deeper. It offers these really insightful nuances and practical tips for actually putting those strategies into action.
So it's not just throwing a bunch of toys at them and calling it a day. It's a more mindful approach, more intentional. Exactly. It's about being present with your child, tuning into their cues, and responding in a way that supports their emotional and cognitive development.
Okay, I'm totally hooked. Let's break down these strategies. Where do we begin?
Well, they start by defining what play actually is.
Oh, interesting.
And they don't just mean any kind of play. They really highlight child-led, unstructured play as the foundation. It's that free-flowing, imaginative kind of play where the child takes charge, they're guiding the action.
So we're talking about building forts out of pillows, making up games, just letting their imaginations run wild.
You got it. The authors even compare it to scuba diving. It's about going beneath the surface and truly connecting with your child's inner world through that kind of play.
I love that analogy. It really captures that sense of just immersing yourself in their world. But the book acknowledges that a lot of us adults have kind of lost touch with that playful spirit, right?
Absolutely. That's a key point they bring up. We get so wrapped up in our to-do lists and schedules, we forget how to just be silly, to get lost in the moment, to see things through a child's eyes.
Oh, I'll admit, sometimes playing with my kids feels more like a chore than fun. Like I'm going through the motions but not really getting it.
Yeah.
How do we rediscover that playfulness that kids just seem to have naturally?
That's where these PlayStrong strategies come in. They help us, as parents, re-engage with that essential language of childhood, to tap back into that intuitive, imaginative space. And the best part is, you don't need any special skills or fancy toys. It's all about shifting our perspective and using everyday moments as opportunities to connect and grow.
I'm ready to shift my perspective. Let's unpack these strategies.
All right, so one of the most intriguing ones is called Think Out Loud.
Okay.
It's about putting your child's inner world into words. Basically giving them a language for their thoughts and feelings.
So if my kid is building a Lego tower, I might say something like, wow, that's getting so tall. You must be really proud of it.
Exactly. And it's not about reading their minds perfectly. It's about making an effort to understand their perspective
Yeah.
and showing them you're paying attention.
It's like helping them build that self-awareness,
Yeah.
that ability to understand their own thoughts and feelings. And the book says to do this even when they're really little.
Even babies benefit from having their experiences narrated. It helps them connect what they're feeling inside with the world around them. It's like building the foundation for emotional intelligence.
So I'm not just being a chatty parent. I'm actually helping them develop important social and emotional skills.
You got it. And it can be as simple as saying what you're doing as you change their diaper
Uh-huh.
or describing the toys they're playing with.
Okay, I'm seeing how this strategy could be so powerful, even in those little everyday moments. Let's move on to another strategy. What about make yourself a mirror? That one really stood out to me.
Oh, yeah. That one is all about reflecting your child's actions and emotions back to them. Like you're a mirror. You match their energy, their expressions, even their tone of voice.
Wait, so if my kid is jumping up and down with excitement, I should jump too. Doesn't that seem a little, well, silly?
It might feel silly at first, but there's a powerful reason behind it. It's about mirror neurons.
Oh, mirror neurons. I've heard about those. But how do they relate to playing with kids?
So these mirror neurons are brain cells that fire. When we see someone else doing something, it's like we're doing it ourselves.
Okay.
When we mirror our children's actions and emotions,
Yeah.
we're basically activating those mirror neurons in their brains, creating a sense of connection and understanding, like on a neural level.
So when I mirror my child's excitement over building that block tower,
Yeah.
I'm not just being silly. I'm actually strengthening the neural pathways for empathy in their brain.
Exactly. It's like speaking their brain's language.
Yeah.
And the book suggests that this mirroring leads to greater empathy and emotional regulation in kids.
That's amazing. I'm seeing how these simple acts of play can have such a big impact on their development.
Right.
But we've only scratched the surface here. We've got 5 more strategies to explore, and I can't wait to hear more.
Let's do it. We'll unpack the rest of these strategies and really dive into how to use them in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
So we talked about think out loud and
Right.
make yourself a mirror.
Yeah.
Those two really show how powerful attunement is in play.
Yeah, being present, tuning into their world, reflecting it back.
Right, exactly. And that brings us to bring emotions to life.
Okay.
This one might be the most important one for all that emotional stuff kids go through.
Oh, tell me about it. My kids' emotions can be so intense sometimes. Like a hurricane hit our house. How does play even help with that?
Well, the book really emphasizes that emotions aren't something to avoid or, try to shut down.
Yeah.
They're important signals. They're
Yeah.
trying to tell us something.
I get that. But how do I help them manage those big feelings without it becoming a total meltdown? That's what I struggle with.
And that's where play comes in. This strategy is about using play as a safe space
Okay.
for kids to explore and process their emotions, work through them in a way that feels manageable.
Can you give me an example? What does that actually look like?
Sure, let's say your child is having nightmares about monsters under the bed.
Classic.
Instead of just saying monsters aren't real, which kind of dismisses their fear,
Right.
you could create this playful scenario where you and your child become monster hunters,
I like it.
armed with flashlights and stuffed animals.
So we're not denying their fear. We're giving them a way to, take charge of it.
Exactly. By acting it out,
Yeah.
they're externalizing that fear, making it less overwhelming. They're learning to confront those emotions in a safe and playful way, which can be really empowering.
And the book explains how this changes the way their brains actually process emotions, right?
Right. It's not just about feeling better in the moment. It goes much deeper. By engaging their emotions through play,
Yeah.
we're helping them strengthen the connection between the limbic system,
Okay.
which is the emotional center of the brain,
Uh-huh.
and the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for reasoning and decision-making.
So by playing, we're literally wiring their brains for emotional intelligence. It's all starting to make sense.
That's what's so cool about this approach. It's not just about managing behavior. It's about supporting healthy brain development,
Right.
giving them the tools they need to handle the world.
Okay. Bring emotions to life is definitely going on my to-do list.
Yeah.
What about dial intensity up or down? You mentioned that one earlier, and it really caught my attention.
Oh, yeah. This one is all about recognizing your child's sensory preferences
Okay.
and helping them regulate their energy levels. It's like being a sensory detective.
So if my kid is bouncing off the walls, I can use play to help them calm down. And if they're low energy, I can use play to get them going.
Exactly. You meet them where they are and adjust the energy accordingly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's about amping it up. Sometimes it's about gently bringing it down.
How do I know which way to go? What should I be looking for?
The book says to pay close attention to their body language.
Okay.
Are they fidgeting, restless, talking nonstop, or are they slumped over, quiet, withdrawn?
Gotcha.
Those are your clues.
So if my kid's having a high-energy meltdown, running around like crazy,
Yeah.
I shouldn't try to get them to sit down and color.
Probably not. In that moment, they might need something to release that energy.
Right.
Like a dance party or a game of tag.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And if they're dragging their feet and look exhausted, I wouldn't suggest a wild game of hide and seek.
Right. You might offer something quieter.
Yeah.
Like reading a book together or building with blocks.
This is making so much sense.
Yeah.
It's like we're speaking their language, but instead of words, we're using play.
I love that. And the book gives tons of examples of how to adjust the intensity based on what your child needs.
Okay.
You can get really creative with it.
I'm already thinking of ways I can use this. It's like a secret weapon for those crazy energy moments.
It's all about finding that sweet spot where they can really thrive. And that leads us to the next one, scaffold and stretch.
Interesting name. So is this one about resilience?
It is. It's about finding that balance between support and challenge.
Okay.
Think about it. When kids play, they're always hitting obstacles, messing up, figuring things out.
That's true. They fall down, their block tower collapses, they lose a game.
Yeah.
It's constant little setbacks.
Exactly. And those setbacks are actually chances for them to grow. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
We need to give them the right amount of support.
Okay.
Without taking over and solving all their problems for them.
So it's like finding that balance between stepping in and letting them struggle a bit.
Precisely. The book talks about the zone of proximal development.
Okay.
That sweet spot where they can achieve something new with just the right amount of help.
Okay, but how do I know when to offer help and when to let them figure it out on their own? That seems tough.
It is tough. It takes practice. But the book gives some helpful tips. It says to pay attention to your child's cues.
Okay.
Watch for signs of frustration or if they're overwhelmed, and then offer support based on that.
So if they're doing a puzzle and getting really frustrated,
Yeah.
I might give a little hint instead of just finishing it for them.
Exactly. And as they get better at it,
Yeah.
you can gradually give them less and less support. It's about empowering them to overcome challenges on their own.
This makes sense. I think we have this instinct to protect them from frustration.
Yeah.
But the book is saying that a little struggle is good for them.
Right. It emphasizes that struggling, making mistakes, even failing, those are all valuable learning experiences. They help kids develop grit, perseverance, a growth mindset.
That's so important.
That belief that they can improve with effort.
I'm seeing how this scaffold and stretch idea can apply to so many things, not just play.
Right.
It's about giving them the tools to handle the ups and downs of life.
Exactly. And the book gives specific examples for everyday situations.
Oh, cool.
From homework to chores to social stuff.
This is definitely going in my parenting toolbox.
Yeah.
Okay, what about narrate to integrate? That's the next one, right? What's that all about?
This one focuses on the power of storytelling.
Oh, interesting.
To help kids process what they go through and understand their emotions.
Okay.
It's about helping them connect what happened with how they feel about it.
So we're encouraging them to tell us their stories.
Exactly. And the key is to actively listen, reflect back their feelings, and help them create a story that brings together their experiences and emotions.
So if my child comes home from school upset about a fight with a friend,
Yeah.
I might encourage them to tell me what happened.
Right.
And then help them make sense of it and how they felt.
That's it. And the book says you don't have to give solutions or advice. It's more about giving them a safe space to express themselves.
Okay.
And process what happened.
And just telling the story can actually help them regulate their emotions.
Totally. The book explains that by putting those experiences into words, they're activating the left side of their brain, which is all about logic and language.
Okay.
And by reflecting their feelings and helping them see the bigger picture, we're engaging the right side, which is about emotion and intuition.
So we're helping them use both sides of their brain.
Exactly.
Creating a more balanced understanding of what they're going through.
And that integration is key for emotional regulation. When they can connect their emotions to words and logic, they can manage those emotions better.
This is so fascinating. Something as simple as telling a story can have such a big impact
Right.
on their emotional development.
And the book has some great tips on how to do this well,
Like what?
like how to ask the right questions,
Uh-huh.
how to listen without judgment,
Okay.
and how to help them create a story that feels empowering.
This is a game changer.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. What about set playtime parameters? Is that the last one?
It is. This one is all about creating a safe and structured environment for play,
Yeah.
setting boundaries and expectations,
Right.
but still allowing for freedom and creativity.
I think a lot of parents struggle with that balance, letting kids explore but keeping things under control.
Definitely. And the book emphasizes that limits aren't about being controlling.
Oh.
They're about creating safety and predictability, which actually helps kids relax and play more freely.
So it's like setting the stage for creative chaos, but making sure it doesn't get totally out of control.
Exactly. Think about it. When kids know the boundaries,
Yeah.
they can push them, test them, experiment within that safe container.
Right.
It actually encourages more creativity.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
If they're always worried about breaking rules, they can't really let go and explore.
Right. And the book gives some helpful guidelines for setting those playtime parameters.
Like what?
Like involving kids in making the rules,
Interesting.
making expectations clear,
Okay.
and praising them when they follow those rules.
So it's about working together, not just telling them what to do.
Exactly. And the book has examples of how to handle common challenges, like sibling fights, cleaning up, transitions.
That's helpful.
It's about that structure and predictability
Yeah.
that actually leads to more freedom and joy.
Okay. This strategy is a lifesaver. I'm already feeling better equipped for those chaotic playtime moments. But there's one thing I'm still wondering about. The book talks about being playful outside of playtime. What does that even mean?
That's a great question, and it's something we'll explore in the last part of this deep dive. Okay, so we've covered some really great strategies for PlayStrong parenting inside the playroom.
Right, like actually playing with them.
But now let's take it outside those four walls
Yeah.
and see how this playful thinking can change how we interact with our kids every day.
The book calls it being playful beyond the playroom. I gotta admit, I'm a little unsure about that.
I understand. Life with kids can feel like it's all to-do lists and routines.
Yeah.
Those power struggles.
It's hard to imagine bringing playfulness into those moments that usually just stress me out.
Right, like bedtime or the morning rush.
Exactly.
But that's where this playful pivot comes in. It's about changing how we see those moments and responding with some playfulness.
So instead of getting frustrated when my kids are taking forever to get ready,
Yeah,
I could turn it into a game.
exactly. Or instead of fighting about bedtime, maybe use a silly voice or a fun ritual.
It's like switching from frustrated to fun.
I like that. And the book says this can actually be really effective in those tense situations.
Wouldn't it feel fake, like I'm putting on a show?
That's a good point, and the book talks about that. The authors say that real playfulness, it comes from connection and joy,
Okay.
not from feeling like you have to do it.
So it's not about being a clown all the time.
Right.
It's about finding those moments
Yeah.
where a little playfulness can lighten things up.
It's about tapping into that inner child we all have and letting it guide us.
So it's like rediscovering that playfulness we might have lost as adults.
That's a great way to put it. And the book gives some tips on how to avoid pitfalls.
Pitfalls. Like what?
One thing to watch out for is using competition too much.
Oh, yeah. Like always turning things into a race.
Yeah, exactly. A little competition can be fun,
Right.
but too much can create stress and rivalry.
Especially for sensitive kids.
Right.
What else should we watch out for?
The book also says to be careful about forcing high-energy playfulness
Okay.
on a child who might need something calmer.
So, like, don't try to get my kid out of a meltdown with a tickle fight.
It depends on the child and the situation. Sometimes a hug and listening is better
Makes sense.
than trying to distract them with play.
So it's about being tuned in to their needs.
Yes,
And responding in a way that feels genuine.
exactly. That attunement is key to being playful beyond the playroom.
Okay, I see how this takes a lot of balance.
Yeah.
Being mindful, intentional, and paying attention to my child's cues.
But the book says that when we get it right,
Yeah.
it can totally change our relationship with our kids.
Really?
Make parenting feel less like work and more like an adventure.
That's amazing. The book also talks about creating a play-based world.
It does.
Yeah.
It's about bringing that playfulness into our homes, our schools, our communities.
It's like remembering that play isn't just for kids.
Exactly.
It's important for grown-ups, too.
The book even says play is a basic human need.
Wow.
Crucial for our well-being, our creativity, our connection with others.
So PlayStrong isn't just about raising resilient kids. It's about a more playful and joyful life for everyone.
I love that. That's a perfect way to put it.
This was an incredible deep dive into the way of play and PlayStrong parenting.
It was.
We explored how play makes kids stronger,
Yeah.
emotionally, mentally, in their relationships, and how to bring that playful spirit into everything we do.
We talked about the 7 strategies
Right.
that can change how we connect with our kids.
And give them the tools to thrive.
We saw that play is about way more than just fun.
Yeah.
It's about connection, resilience, creativity, and joy.
Thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into the way of play. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this PlayStrong approach.
Absolutely. Share your favorite moments, ask questions, let us know what connected with you.
And please like, comment, and share this with your friends.
Until next time, keep playing.